Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the CI Sports Zone. I am Christopher Uslig. Joining with me today, my co-host, Thomas Garverick. How's it going today, Thomas?
It's going good, man. Obviously, we had a little bit of some tech errors, so just wanted to get that
technology
taken
is
care of.
not on our side right this. But also joining us today, as always, is Jonathan Garverick. How's it going, fellas?
I didn't know
Jonathan
Thomas
Garverick.
had the last name. That's news to me. But no, glad to be back here, guys. It's crazy to believe we're halfway through the regular season in high school football. It's teams are already playoff eligible, which is pretty crazy. Or have lots more coming in the next week or two as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, it's crazy that we're already in week 6 of the high school football season. I always send out a text each Friday, and I always say, just savor it, guys, because these Fridays, they go by quick. And honestly, I just love them so much. I enjoy getting to as many different games in different schools as possible. So it's crazy that it's flying by, and it's crazy that, as you just mentioned, Jonathan, that some teams are already postseason eligible because they're 5-0, and there's going to be more teams who are in the mix as well this week. So
Well, Jonathan, I do want to apologize for getting your last name wrong.
That was great.
It is
I
for
love
sure
it.
Michael. The technical difficulties.
Jonathan
just getting to my
Garverick.
head.
Thomas and I are not married.
All right.
We are
Well,
not.
Due to technical
now,
difficulties.
with our love for sports, we could definitely be brothers for sure.
Yes.
So
Well,
Yes,
due
we
to our
could.
technical difficulties, let's kind of get rolling here with looking at some of the competition we had this week. Starting off with Normal West and
what a
Peoria.
ball game! You guys
And
got an excellent clutch sports in the game.
this was a fun one to watch.
This was.
As you can see, the score was real good here, 43-38, and kept me on the edge of my seats the whole time, John.
Yeah, it was definitely the best game that at least we've done so far. Broadcast on our WMED games of the week so far this season. I mean, back and forth pretty much the entire game. Normal West went up 14-0 in the first half, or first quarter. Pure High tied it up. Then Normal West got a blocked punt right before the half. Given Smith took it in for a touchdown, and Normal West never trailed. And a lot of players I want to shout out for them. First off, their backup quarterback Chase Sennett threw 5 touchdown passes against a secondary.
Did you say backup?
Yes, backup quarterback threw 5 touchdowns against a Pure High secondary that returned pretty much all of its starters, all of which were all conference returners from last season. So an unbelievable game for him. He threw some phenomenal balls to C.J. Payton, Efoy Baskins, Malik Givens, Cody Mulbauer, all touchdown receptions. Also, Normal West defensive line was unbelievable. They had probably 8 to 9 guys that we called during some point during the broadcast, many of them multiple times. One of them, Enrico White McMillan, multiple TFLs, sacks, interceptions. I don't even know if he was an actual starter. But, I mean, that defensive line for Normal West was really wreaking havoc. And that was, I mean, I said it at the very end of the broadcast, might have been one of the best position group performances I've seen from any team at any time. I mean, it was really phenomenal what that Normal West deal.
Yeah, we talked about last week that West had a couple tough losses. Their record didn't indicate how good this team was, and so that's a really impressive win to go to Peoria High, a team that obviously can fill up the scoreboard, and for Normal West to come out with a victory, just huge for them.
Yeah,
Definitely.
And another really good game that I caught glimpses of here and there also was this Morton and Pekin game, and 21-13, like that's a hard. You get a little bit of offense, a little bit of defense. That's good football game right there, and it was fun to watch from start to. Obviously, I didn't catch the whole thing, but the big portion I did get a catch of that second half. It was just fun football to watch.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Pekin kind of went ahead. Whatever Morton, kind of came back. Then Pekin went ahead. They're up 14-13. Pekin then went up 21-13. That was the final score. But that was a big win for Pekin. They really needed that, especially if for their playoff prospects. They're now sitting at 2-3. They still got Canton, Limestone, East Peoria coming up. So if they can take care of business, Pekin might be back in the playoffs or whatever. So that's a big win for Pekin. Otherwise, they would have been looking at 4 straight losses and needing to win out, including against this week another big win for the Dragons against Metamora. But that's a good win. I mean, Morton's a good football team. Morton now they've lost 2 in a row, so they now need to bounce back.
Yep.
They'll get Limestone and EP coming up the next 2 weeks. Both teams dealing with some key injuries right now.
Yeah.
But, definitely, kind of hard-hitting physical football game where, it's kind of some guys that, second stringers maybe kind of had to step up in that game.
Yeah, I was very curious to see how both teams would respond. Obviously, Morton was playing without Isaac Davis, their starting quarterback. Pekin, of course, without Dylan Anderson, their star receiver. And so just really impressed that Pekin was able to find a way to win, to your point, Jonathan, just because they really needed one. They needed a pick-me-up win. Morton's a very good team. That's always a good battle between those two schools. So really impressed with Pekin being able to just find a way to grind out a win.
Yeah,
you have those games during the season.
Especially after that heartbreaking loss to like Dunlap in overtime. Like it's
sometimes
as a football team you need a good hard fought win to kind of get your ego pumped up going into the second half of the season where we have to get some wins if we want to move on.
Definitely.
Speaking of teams, we have talked quite a lot about a high-powered offense we had seen, and we kind of were hyping them up a lot last week, was this El Paso Gridley Tri-Valley game where Tri-Valley's defense, honestly, not too shabby against a team we'd seen put up lots of offensive points up to this point in the season, only 24, a 3-point win. So kind of showing the endurance of El Paso that they can dig out these close games as well.
Yeah, you saw that field goal there from Owen Bergquist. That was the difference. And I mean, you talk about how much of a gift to luxuries at times a kicker is in high school, and EPG's got a good one. I mean, Bergquist has been kicking for a while. I think he was all conference last year. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, I mean that's a huge win for EPG. Now they're past the toughest part of their schedule. They're at 5-0. I think 9-0 is on the table for the Titans after another great win over Tri-Valley. So they're definitely in the driver's seat for the HOCI large title.
Yeah, EPG has definitely been probably the best story of this year for sure. I mean, hard not to love them. I saw Tri-Valley briefly last week. Really impressed with them. These are clearly the best two teams in that conference, without a doubt. Both teams are really, really good. And so tough loss for Tri-Valley. But again, EPG, man, they just keep finding ways to win. It doesn't matter how, they just get it done.
Well, yeah, and Jonathan, you talked about it. Like when it comes to trusting your kicker in high school, it can be a little nerve-wracking. But if you have a good kicker like that who can get us those points, especially in high school, that's a game changer. You don't have to try to go for two. You can, if your offense stalls out, now we got a guy who can go in there and put it through. And it's not super rare in high school football to see, but it's kind of a little bit of a more
It's fun to see a high school kicker get to have a moment, and that big of a moment, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, high leverage situation, and to see a high school kid deliver, that's really cool.
Yeah. Most definitely. Well, yeah, and we talked about a guy that kind of thrived in a role that maybe he wasn't initially think you might have been in, at least primarily as far as high school career. Last couple weeks ago, we talked about Owen Klein. Well, I mean, Bergquist was a quarterback for a while for EPG, and then kind of he slided into kicker. He also plays other positions too for EPG. So again, obviously Owen Adams has taken over at quarterback, but Bergquist is a guy that you can't forget about, and really delivered there into just a big game for them. So EPG is looking really good right now.
Well, coming up this weekend, once again, I will say this 1,000 times. There's always a good weekend of football. There's no such thing as a bad weekend of football. Okay, I don't care how bad it is. You get to sit down and watch the sport. So one of the games that we'll have as our game of the week is this East Peoria, Washington. Jonathan, what are you kind of looking for in this matchup that kind of people should be excited for?
Jonathan seeing Washington for the third time in person this year.
Yes, for the third time in 4 weeks, I believe, weeks 3, 4, and 6. So we're pretty familiar with Washington. We kind of know what they do. Huge win for them against Limestone last week. Their defense was just all over the place. I'm just looking to see if they're able to do it again and just kind of do their thing that they have done just about every single game so far this season. And for East Peoria again, they're coming off their first loss, their first shutout of the season. They lost a big one at Dunlap, so they're really looking to bounce back. So it's going to be an offense that needs to kind of find that spark again against a defense that's been rolling all season. So Washington, I think, definitely the favorite in this one. But again, I'm very excited to see what East Peoria brings to the table because they do have some offensive weapons for sure.
Yeah, I was surprised by that result with them at Dunlap last week. So it'll be curious to see how East Peoria bounce back against obviously the class of the middle line at Washington. Just about impossible. But it's interesting because we saw Metamora a couple weeks really struggle against Washington, and now the last couple weeks Metamora has looked like Metamora. They've taking care of business against Morton and Canton. I saw them briefly on last Friday. So, Jonathan, what other games do you have an eye on in Week 6? What is
definitely Bloomington
tickling your fancies?
Bloomington Normal Community for sure.
Jonathan was hyping that one up before the show today. He was excited.
Great game. We're gonna see again. Bloomington has proven that they're very good. Now we're gonna see again. Okay, this is kind of like one of their last really big tests of the season. So that's a huge win. First place in the Big 12 is going to be on the line in that one. So yeah, that's going to be a great game. Also got by, Shelbyville, Eureka. I know the Hornets are 2-3, but they could pick up a big win, get to 3-3, and get back in the playoff chase. I'm also looking at Farmington. The Farmers have been rolling.
Farmers, baby.
They are at Macomb. Probably gonna be the toughest game of the regular season for them. I still like Farmington a lot to win that game, but Macomb is one of the only teams that can really give Farmington a good run for their money. So I'll definitely have my eye on the Farmers out west this week.
I was at Farmington. That was one of my pit stops for high school football last week. I was literally there for, I think, under 5 minutes of real time because I get there and Farmington is driving. They're already up 14-0 late first quarter. I guess I was there for a little bit more than 5 minutes because we had the intermission between the first and second quarter, but Farmington just rolled down the field in 3-4 plays, and I'm like, perfect. There's my highlights. See you later, Farmington. So in my very limited scene of Farmington, very impressed with the Farmers for sure.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that Normal Community Bloomington game is going to be awesome.
And Pekin Bennett Moore is going to be a great one too in the Mid-Illini for sure.
Yep.
So, as some of you may have heard, I'm going to talk about this really quickly. Princeville, who also won a very good game Friday night.
Yeah, nail biter, 21-20.
Yeah.
They got the pleasure of winning $25,000 from the T-Mobile Friday night 5G lights.
How about that?
I had the
Awesome.
pleasure last Thursday morning at 7:30 in the morning because apparently high schools can't do things at a reasonable. No, I'm just kidding. I did.
They start early.
Yeah, I did get to go up to Princeville, and in their gym they had the whole school. That school, their elementary school, their middle school, everybody was in the gym. They had a big event. They announced it. It was electric. They are still fighting for a chance to win over $1 million, and there's a whole list and breakdown of everything they'll get if they get voted the best team or the top if they win the competition.
That'd be pretty cool if they won.
I did check yesterday. They were, I think, in the top 12 or top 15 of the top nationally. So, again, Princeville needs their votes. They're not too far behind. They can come back.
I think they slid a little bit from 11 to 14, but go to you can look it up on ciproud.com, Princeville, 5K, T-Mobile, however, whatever keywords you want to use, you'll find the story, and there it'll tell you how to go vote. You can vote every single day, and I think it'd be great if we can get a small school of 185 students or something like that, the chance to win $1 million.
For sure.
It's got like a field makeover, like a weight room. Like there's a whole bunch they get.
That would be big time.
I just wanted to
That's a really good community. Princeville really cares
school.
about that community, not just athletics, but everything in general. And it was cool that Rob Gronkowski gave them a special shout out. That was really neat.
Brandon.
Mentioning Princeville was never on my bingo card.
They also got a shout out from Brandon Aubrey. So they're working hard. Their mass comms is doing a great job. Go check out their social medias. It's look up Princeville High School. You'll find their social media. I forgot to write down their tag, but go check that out. And we kind of need to wrap up and get to break here. But before we do, there is one more thing we have to touch up on because this is Jonathan's favorite part of the show, our high school
bracket
mascot
challenge.
bracket.
We're down to 8 teams.
We are in the Elite 8 now. Voting has gone crazy this morning. We've had 300 votes this morning. And I won't say who, but there is a school at 321 votes already. So
getting it done.
I'm not going to say who because I want everyone to still go vote for your team.
Correct.
But there's a lot of voting happened for this Elite 8. There's a lot of hype around it. So make sure, go to ciproud.com, look up our mascot story. It should be on the front page there. And go vote. And, let's see how many people we can get. This so far is set out to be the highest voted round. And that would make me feel really good. So let's go get those votes.
This has been really fun. We've obviously been running it in the 5:30 show and then in our overtime show. And so it's been really neat to see these communities and schools come together to vote. And, hey, we're going to have a Final Four after this week. Yeah. So pretty awesome.
And obviously, as you can see there, Peoria Production Solutions were kind of sponsor us on this. So
yes, we love sponsors.
Yeah, we love that. Thank you guys so much. So go out, vote, and Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, appreciate it. We'll see you after week 6.
It was a pleasure, and we love having you on here. So we'll be back after this short break, so stick around. Hello and welcome back to the CI Sports Zone. I am Christopher Huslig. Joining with me, we got my co-host, Thomas Garverick, and the man with the hot takes around the news station, the man, the myth, the legend, the Alex Berger.
Oh, you're too kind.
And guys, we had a pretty interesting weekend of a little bit of college football.
Yeah, it really started on Friday night with just Virginia pulling off an incredible upset. I will say that the crowd storming the stadium after the game, that was scary. It happened so quickly.
Well, and
you had the Florida State player down in the end zone.
Both of them were still laying in the end zone.
That was my first thought. I'm like, is he all right? So that was a little scary for me just to see that. That was my first instinct. And then obviously you had Arizona State with a come from behind win against TCU, but then that Saturday slate, fellas. I mean, it lived up to the billing. And then some.
It was a lot of fun. And then, honestly, one of the games that caught me most by surprise, USC Illinois. I did not think Illinois had much of a shot.
We all picked USC.
And I'm not
all of us. We all got that wrong.
And so I think Illinois kind of built up a little bit of that cred. I mean, it's still hard to fight off a 53-point loss, but they are in the right direction. They beat a solid USC football team who came in on homecoming, and Illinois said, we're not losing our homecoming game in front of our crowd. So great football game.
Well, I will say that the Illini would even tell you that they tried to give that game away, right? They had a couple really costly fumbles in this game, but really impressed with, I just want to say this really quickly. Mekhi Lemon for USC was absolutely spectacular in this game. He's the receiver. He's, in my opinion, one of the best receivers in the country, and he definitely rose his NFL stock in that game. Was just impossible to cover, made some highlight reel catches, but hats off to Luke Altmaier and that Illini offense to find a way to get the ball back. Obviously, USC scores, a little less than 2 minutes to go, and Illini go down the field and they kick a field goal to win the game. So really impressed with the resiliency from Illinois, because again, everybody was like, hey, this team got smoked by Indiana. But that's the beautiful thing about college football. The week is over, and now it's all about just moving forward.
Yeah.
And that's what Illinois did.
And even 0-0, going back to our pick 'em for college football, I still would pick USC 100 times over, because going back to what I was talking about, coach versus coach. I like Lincoln Riley. I think that he's an offensive guru. They've gone more with their running game this year, which is something that's kind of a switch up to Lincoln Riley's more West Coast style. But I'd still go with USC each time. But props to Illinois.
Yeah, and there was that big USC fumble their first drive, and props to Illinois for not giving those points back. Like you said, they had a little bit of their hiccups, but they didn't have a massive blunder that they weren't able to counter back from. So I will say the one team that I feel like is one of the biggest Cinderella stories of the season is this Vanderbilt team. I love watching them play. Pavia, great quarterback. And they came up.
Well, you guys know where game day is next week, right? For week 6.
I actually had not seen yet. Is it in Vandy?
So it's in Bama, because Bama plays Vandy. So Bama is ranked 10th, Vanderbilt ranked 16th in Tuscaloosa. Very interesting to see that. I see the spread. Alabama is a touchdown and a half favorite over Vandy, 10.5 point favorites, which again kind of surprises me, because to you guys' point, I like Vandy a lot. I think they're a good team, but it'll be really interesting to see how they respond in that kind of environment. But yeah, Vandy's been a fun story for sure.
How about what if Vanderbilt wins? What does that say? What is the scenario if Vanderbilt wins? What do you guys think?
Then we're really going to have to start taking them seriously in the SEC.
I won't show up to work because I'll have to listen to Andy all day.
Andy Kravitz's big. He went to Vanderbilt, so that's his
biology degree from Vandy.
So we always hear about it, and that's our resident Vanderbilt guy.
That's right. And then Ole Miss picking up a big win over LSU. I love that Lane Kiffin said after the game, he was like, yeah, I'm going to have to check to see if the over hit, because obviously he was making social media waves by tweeting at people saying, hey, take the over in the game. But big win for Ole Miss. That was a game that they had to have. Those were games that Lane Kiffin has really struggled to get at Ole Miss. Really impressed with them. It doesn't necessarily change how I feel about LSU. I will say that I think some of their offensive concerns were amplified in this loss, right? but Ole Miss is a really good team in the SEC. And I think to the point of the narrative, there's a lot of parity in college football now, which is great. I think it is okay that teams are going to lose 2-3 games because the SEC is really good. The Big Ten is really good. You're going to see, I think, playoff teams this year in that 12-team format with 3 losses.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that because
I agree.
You're playing ranked opponents almost every week now. And so you can't penalize the teams for this. So
Well, and also
Ole Miss took care of business.
Sorry I didn't mean to cut you off. With like the transfer portal stuff too, I think it makes it a little more even because now you don't have players who are really good who would start on any other team sitting on the bench. They're now moving to a school where they will play. So I feel like that is kind of also evened the playing field a little bit more and made it kind of more interesting to watch. That is the only nice thing I will ever say about the transfer portal because
Sure.
I am not the biggest fan.
I don't know if anybody really is, except for athletes, so they can just leave whenever. I do support athletes being able to leave if their head coach leaves. I think that is a very valid thing because when you sign on, you expect a commitment out of your head coach. So I totally get that as well.
Or like a one-time like you can move once. If you make the wrong decision twice, that sounds like a you problem. No, I'm kidding.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You know what was really interesting is everybody all week, and this is going to be my one Ohio State plug because I have to talk about my Buckeyes, but everyone was saying, oh, Washington, they're a live dog, right? This is a really good team. Their quarterback's good. Ohio State goes in. They only scored 24 points. Wasn't a great offensive performance by the Buckeyes. But what's incredible, guys, is that we are now entering, week 6 of the season in college football, and Ohio State still has not allowed a red zone touchdown.
Oh, my.
Think about how
That's
incredible
filthy.
that is.
That's filthy.
They have not allowed a red zone touchdown. This Ohio State defense was really elite last year. I did not think it was possible for them to be better.
Yeah.
And so far, they are better.
Well, I mean, there's 4 words for that. It's Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs. Those are the 2.
Jeremiah Smith plays offense.
Well, yeah, I know. Caleb Downs defense. That's
right.
That is both. They have 2 potentially of the best players in the country.
Right.
In that, both sides. And so
Jeremiah Smith could probably play defense if he wanted to.
He could. He could. And then all of a sudden he'd win the Heisman.
You know what, Thomas? I think you could play defense if you wanted to.
Oh, not a
think you
chance.
could.
I would not stand a chance. I'd get eaten alive out there. I'm good at just watching him play.
Thomas is like, I'll just sit here where I don't get hit by 300-pound men running
That's
at me.
exactly right.
Hey, I'm good here. Yes.
But yeah, I will safely say, if there was any doubt, Ohio State and then Oregon are by far the best 2 teams in the Big Ten. That Oregon-Penn State game was just insane. Oregon goes up 17-3 in the 4th quarter. You see Dan Lanning go, it's over. And then Penn State rallies. They tie the game. It goes into overtime. Penn State scores, so they're winning 24-17. It's 4th and 1, game on the line in overtime. Dante Moore picks up a first down. Oregon scores. They score again, and then they get the interception. I knew Drew Aller would lose this game for Penn State, and that's what it came down to. Yeah. Dante Moore is the better quarterback than Drew Aller, and I talked about that. I love Dante Moore from Oregon. I think he's another guy that has a really good shot of playing well on Sunday. So really impressed with Oregon. That was an impressive win.
Yeah.
Hostile environment for sure.
The whiteout game, that stadium was loud and you could hear it over the broadcast. That has to be one of the most tough situations to play a football game in, and Oregon got it done.
Yeah, especially with Penn State having that up front like they did. Like I was telling you guys, that probably the best, one of, if not the best, up front defense in college football.
Yeah,
so
they're definitely up there. I just think, it goes back to all of our points of the combination of James Franklin and Drew Aller in these big games just cannot be trusted. I know that James Franklin talked about a post game, but I will never believe in Penn State with those 2 guys. So we'll see. But I will say I was very shocked, and we all picked Georgia to win.
We did.
And I cannot believe that Alabama went into Georgia and got the win. I was really impressed with Alabama's quarterback, Ty Simpson. Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to say about him, but Ty Simpson, he came out and looked absolutely fantastic, just took the crowd out of the game. But Georgia, for the team that usually doesn't make a ton of mistakes, in the second half of that game, they had a dropped touchdown.
Yeah,
that was a walk-in. That would have put them up by 4. Then they were driving. They could have taken the field goal. I think Kirby Smart definitely overthought it in this game. It was 4th and 1. They go no huddle. They have their 3rd down back in, and they run this funky play. It's like, if you're going to go for it, that's fine. It's 4th and 1. bring in your bruiser to pick up the first down,
Yeah.
and then they don't pick it up. I felt like Georgia lost this game in the second half, but hats off to Bama. That defense really rallied. I did not think they had a chance in this game.
I didn't either.
Hats off to I almost said Roll Tide, to the Crimson Tide. So that was a huge win for them for sure. Because obviously, if they would have dropped another game, that would have been their second loss of the season already. Because remember, they lost to Florida State in week 1. But really impressed with Alabama. So we're going to see who. I really don't know who's going to win the SEC. And I think that's really fun. Like normally, there's definitely like that clear-cut favorite, right? But I mean, you can make an argument for LSU, Ole Miss, Alabama, Georgia, even Texas, Tennessee, right? Like you could still make an argument.
Top.
You can make an argument if Vandy wins this week. Vandy would be undefeated still. So it's going to be really fun to see who wins the SEC. It's really crowded for sure.
And then I kind of was looking ahead next week, and the only game that obviously there's a lot of good football being played. The one that really stands out to me, Miami, Florida State. I looked at that and I was like, that is going to be a big game for the Seminoles trying to come back against a good football team.
Oh, that's a massive game in the ACC for sure.
And I think it's Florida State's going to go into that with we have to bounce back after last week. So I think that is the game that I'm keeping my eye on this week, and I think it's 6:30 on Saturday.
It's definitely the primetime game of the night for sure.
that is my I'm excited for this. Excited to see.
Miami actually opens up as a favorite in that game.
Yeah,
so that's very
why
interesting as well. So, but you have them, and then you obviously have that Vandy-Alabama matchup, which, I talked about. Alabama's a heavy favorite in that game. So it'll be interesting to see if Vandy is able to use that as motivation. But after a really good slate this past weekend, I definitely think this is a much more tame weekend. So a couple of really notable matchups, but we're always looking forward to a college football Saturday. Just like I talk about with all you guys about high school football Friday nights, same thing with college football and same thing with the NFL on Sunday. We get it once a week. We got to enjoy it for sure.
Yes, we do.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be back with another special guest. We're going to talk a little bit of NFL, a little bit of fantasy, so stick around and we'll be back. Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of the CI Sports Zone. I'm Christopher Hueslig, and bear with me for a second because I got a few people to introduce. We got Thomas Garbrick, who's my co-host, Alex Berger, and the Patrick Michael Cunningham III.
Patrick's actually like the most qualified to talk about this because he literally gets paid for this field of entertainment.
Well, guys, great weekend of some NFL football. I'll say that every time. There is no such thing, once again, as bad football. I love football. Let's love to watch it and
And we got some international football. Who is up at 8:30 in the morning? Drinking a Guinness.
Was not.
No.
I was not either.
Drinking
honestly
Guinness at 8 a.m. is diabolical.
I
But
honestly forgot that game was this week. I thought it was next week.
What's crazy is Minnesota has another game internationally next week with my Cleveland Browns, which that's just going to be so embarrassing. I cannot. What was Roger Goodell thinking, putting my Cleveland Browns on the international stage?
Well, I mean,
just terrible.
Remember when the 1-15 Jaguars would play the 2-14 Panthers
And the
in
Titans?
the very first London game? We don't ever send the Cowboys over there. We don't send us.
No.
Speaking of the Cowboys, we're like them last night with the Packers. We got 2 red shirts, 2 blue shirts, ties.
Yeah.
Which should not be allowed.
And just like
communism, as
the
Patrick
NFL
tweeted
should
out.
be,
It is.
no ties. Right, guys? We don't have any ties.
We're going to get to that epic Sunday night football battle between the Packers and the Cowboys. That was a fantasy football manager's just dream game. It was awesome. And I have a really fun story about how that matchup actually helped me get a win in a different league. But really shocked with the Giants on Sunday, right? I think I told you guys this. So the most bet
Bolts
team
down.
in the NFL was the Chargers. And it was just so funny that everybody was on the Chargers. I'm like, I was just sitting there. I'm like, I bet you Jackson Dart and the Giants have a really good day. Didn't know if they were going to win, but they did. Hats off to them. It came at a price, though. They lost Malik Neighbors. So if you're a fantasy owner, I know, Alex, that's brutal for Alex.
I don't even, at this point, I don't even care about the fantasy aspect. I just hope he's okay. after
Yeah, it
this,
came out
'cause-
earlier this afternoon. He did, in fact,
Hey,
tear his
Alex,
ACL.
would
He's out
those
for the
20
season.
points even help your team out?
Well, you know what? The WMED League is actually
I'm out.
probably, as of now, it is going to, depending on the outcome of tonight's game, I'm beating our part-time sports guy, Harvey, by only 30 points because he had Josh Jacobs and Javonte Williams score like 3 touchdowns in the second half. And
That was crazy.
my team has had some really bad injury luck, and so I need Justin Fields and Devon Achane to just take the night off.
Yeah.
That'd be great because I play Kurt next week, and I'm already
Kurt
done.
is rolling.
Kurt is rolling.
We're not going against him.
Kurt is going to whoop me because I don't have Drake London or Jordan Love next week. I am severely undermanned. I'm just trying to get to week 7 when hopefully I have CeeDee Lamb and Rashee Rice back. Like I'm on like life support right now. Like
I think all of us are, honestly.
No,
all of us have.
I'm actually doing very well.
Yeah, okay. Everyone but.
At this point, I'm pretty much like, okay, if I can just get in as like the 6th seed, I'll take it. So
Hey, yeah.
I just need, because once all my receivers come back, I'll have London, Egbuka, CD, and Rashid Rice. That'll be just
That's
fine.
a great lineup.
But unfortunately, right now, that's not the case. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to squeak out a win. So maybe I'll get a Monday Night Miracle tonight. So we'll see.
I mean, in another league I was rolling against hopefully my future brother-in-law because in that Sunday night game, I had Brandon Aubrey, George Pickens, Josh Jacobs, and Dak Prescott.
You can just score. You can just start Brandon Aubrey at quarterback at this point.
Well, you know what's
man
funny?
is incredible.
So I have Aubrey in so many leagues. We've talked about this.
Yes.
And like he really didn't have to do anything because the Cowboys were scoring touchdowns all night.
Well, and he still got almost 10 points.
And he still ended up with 8 points.
Yeah.
But so I was in a very competitive league with some college buddies of mine. I'm like, I've been in the championship. Guys, I can't even make this up. In the 5 years we've done this league, I have been in the title game 4 times. Like, I have just dominated. My worst finish in that league is 3rd. No, I'm
Wait,
telling you,
let
my
him-
buddies
let-
can't stand it.
Let him say how he's done in those championships. Aren't you?
Are you like the
0-4?
Bills in the
No,
90s?
I've won. I'm 2-2.
Oh, okay.
I'm 2-2.
I could have sworn that was the league you told me you were 0-4 in
No.
the title
Oh,
game. So-
man.
Dang.
That's another just bad beat league where I've had some really good teams that just haven't been able to get the job done. So,
Yeah.
anyways, so I was going into a matchup. I'm down 48 PPR points. I had Jordan Love, Brandon Aubrey, and Ferguson.
Yep.
And so I needed like an absolute barn burner. I was down probably 18 points going into the 4th quarter. And literally, you can't even script it. So the Packers could have tied that game, but then Jordan Love throws that touchdown. Okay, so then I'm like, okay, I'm inching a little bit closer. I'm like within, I don't know, probably 7-8 points.
Right.
And then the Cowboys, I think Ferguson caught another pass or two on the drive, and then they scored quickly. So I was like, oh sweet, the Packers are going to get the ball back. So then Jordan Love ran for some yards. He threw for some yards. So I'm within like 3 points, and I'm like, I just need overtime. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is going perfectly. And then McManus boots it through, and I'm like, no way. So
Yeah.
then Aubrey kicks the field goal, puts me ahead by like 1.5 points. But then I'm thinking like, oh no, if Jordan Love throws an interception, I lose 2 points, I lose the game. So I'm like literally on pins and needles, like I'm this close. And thank goodness Jordan Love didn't turn the ball over. I ended up coming from behind. I had like a 10% chance of winning the matchup. And I came back and won to get to 3-1 in that league. I was pretty hyped.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. I love those fantasy stories when that happens for people.
My 2 heroes of fantasy, 3 heroes honestly of fantasy this week: Justin Jefferson,
Really
Marvin
good game.
Harrison Jr. He came back in that second half and really kind of put some stuff up. Travis Etienne Jr. of course, but my 2 just gut punches is accidentally leaving Dallas Goedert on my bench. He scored 19. Much bigger gut punch. Drafting Romeo Doubs, knowing, you know what, this guy's going to do great. He's got,
then you dropped
29
him.
on my bench.
Yeah,
29 on
Romeo
my
Doubs
bench,
just
Romeo
decides,
Doubs.
hey, I'm going to screw around and score 3 touchdowns on Sunday Night Football.
They've got 8 receivers.
I
Well, and
was-
then Goddard had 2 weird touchdowns in the Eagles game.
I was very bumped up by Omarion Hampton's random
Great game from
27 and a half point game. That
It was not. Hampton's a beast.
He
I
is-
just made
he's
a big
really
trade in a
good.
dynasty league to get him. He's a superstar.
He
man.
is really good.
and then Patrick Mahomes, Xavier Worthy was my lifesaver. Like he came back in that. We'll probably end up talking about him a little bit more here in a bit.
Do we have
but,
to?
Yeah, we do, man. Yeah, we do. But Patrick Mahomes, 27 points. Those two boosted me up to a 21-point win over Sarah. So great game. Great fantasy for me there.
See, I should just tell our listeners I'm not just some Xavier Worthy hater. It's just me and Christopher have off-camera Xbox discussions about since I'm a Lamar Jackson man and he's a Chiefs fan. Obviously, we just have some
And Lamar got hurt.
back and forth. Yeah, I hope that's not too much. I hope that's not a prolonged injury. I hope he comes back.
It's never
pretty
good when
quickly.
they say it's not season ending. When it leads off with, he's going to be okay. It's not season ending. That to me signals he might miss some time.
He might miss 2 to 3 weeks. Truthfully,
They do have a bye week. I think is week 7, so it would not surprise me. They play Houston coming up, and granted, Houston won, but
he's
Houston. I've not been impressed with this year.
Yeah, you might have to sit him, and I might have to sit him and put in. Who is that? Oh yes, Michael Penix for that. Who actually
He's been doing very well the last couple of weeks.
He has, and I loved him coming out of college.
Man, would you like Jordan Love?
Yeah. Great.
For all of our listeners, me and Alex made a trade a couple weeks ago that literally ended up with a 50-50 poll tie. You can even make that up.
Which
So
it still is pretty fair. It was Jordan Love.
Wasn't there
for-
like 50 votes in it too? So it
Yeah.
wasn't like
It was a
76.
good sample size.
It
was a
wasn't
good
even like
sample size.
10 people voted.
going back to our science days, right? Like, you got to make sure you have the right number of,
I still maintain Alex got fleeced.
I don't know if I do think inevitably, truthfully, Thomas did win the trade by a bit. Just because
Well, I'm
Jordan
not
Love
winning
is that
matchups,
talent.
so.
That's okay. But
And that's all that matters.
Well, that's just
I'm not
because of
winning.
injuries.
Injuries and, losing to Chris
There-
last week really
There
hurt.
was one more game I was really wanting to talk about a little bit.
There was a bunch of
and
games.
that Eagles Buccaneers game. Honestly, if I'm a Bucks fan, I'm not feeling bad. Like they had a chance at the end there to kind of go and tie up or take the lead. Didn't work out. I've seen videos of people complaining Emeka Egbuka's big touchdown. He wasted 5 seconds before he went into the end zone. People are like, that was 5 seconds. Okay.
That was my ride or die, by the way. I said he was going to be a top 15 fantasy receiver. I was way too low. He's
a
receiver
star.
7 right now. He's
But
a superstar.
I think
Love Mech.
there was 2 minutes left in the third quarter when that happened. You can't.
Patrick was really hoping as a diehard Cowboys fan that the Eagles would just find a way to blow it.
I accept that. I mean, always hope that they blow it. I hope the Eagles every year go 0-17, but I would not be a smart football fan if I didn't say they are probably overall the best team in the league right now. Even though 4-0, they're a couple of plays from being 2-2 or even 1-3. There's just truly, I feel like, and especially with the Packers starting 2-0, blowing it to the Browns, and then last night's tie.
Yeah.
There's really no super dominant team where I'm just they are the clear Super Bowl favorites. There's about 5 or 6 true contenders to me.
Yeah, there's good teams, but I'm right there with you. I know I made the joke that the Bills are frauds, and obviously the Bills are a really good team. They are a contender in the AFC, but I don't know. I have not been impressed with anybody really in the AFC outside of the Chargers, but then the Chargers kind of lose a head scratcher yesterday, but that's the beauty of the NFL. You never know. But
yeah,
I think my concern with the Bills and clearly the Ravens is I just don't like their defenses.
No.
And that's my thing with the Bills. It's like Sean McDermott, you're supposed to be the defensive guru. They brought you in, and I just feel like that Bills defense is getting worse.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the postseason, you need your defense to make plays. And I just watched, now granted, they still won by double digits over the Saints. They took care of business, but I watched the Saints move up and down the field on them, and the Saints had probably the worst play call around the goal line that we've ever seen.
Oh my
Patrick
gosh.
said this. A Philly special from 3rd and goal at the 1. It's you're getting bailed out by bad. I think the Bills are a good team. Josh Allen is awesome, but that defense has to get better if they want to get to the Super Bowl.
And I don't mind that kind of play call from the Saints. If it's
They're trying to lose.
if they're 4th,
That was a
and
tank play call.
I agree in that moment. That's a bad play call. Now, if they did that on a 4th and 5, you're down by 7, you're looking for a spark, sure. But when you're there at the 1,
just
the
run
2,
the ball.
just run the ball, take the win, or at least take what they're giving you there, and just don't overthink it. because you're on the road. You're a huge underdog. 14.5-point underdog in the NFL.
That's insane.
Is otherworldly.
That honestly never really happens.
No, I mean, you get
crazy.
maybe a handful of those a season, and
Yeah,
that was
for
incredibly
really bad teams.
predictable that was going to be that kind of line. So when you're on the road and you're that big of an underdog, just run it up the middle. Don't Marshawn
The
Lynch
Saints
it.
ran for almost 200 yards.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
Almost 200 yards.
yeah. And quickly about the Giants game, which, as we've said, that is a big surpriser. I really liked Jackson Dart in this game. This is
Hey, guess
another-
what, Alex? You can probably pick him up off the waiver wire.
This is well. Here's the thing. I don't know if I'm going to just pick him up like that. I really like. I can see the Giants starting to build a little bit of a system. Now, are they going to be a playoff team this year? Who knows? Probably not. But Jackson Dart looks like the quarterback they need. He had a lot of confidence in his first start. Like going in there. That wasn't preseason. He did a really good job. Of actually picking up the yards, looking upfield instead of just, I got to tuck and run. He did a good job for being a rookie, and he beat the best ranked defense at the time, number one ranked defense, Chargers, in one of the best coaches in the league, Jim Harbaugh. I mean, I am not a Brian Dable believer. I am not, but
He looked so happy.
He did.
He was like,
he
oh,
was
you
so
just
relieved.
saved my job.
He looked like he just
have
had
a
a
job next
newborn
week.
son born.
Oh, it was a great
in
day for
Jackson
Brian
Dart.
Dable because then Danny Dimes went back to being Danny Dimes, throwing interceptions and
Yeah,
against
and
the Rams. But
and also the Jags beating the unbeaten Niners.
well, I think
That's
the Niners were
crazy.
very fraudulent, anyways.
Well, yeah,
they had
but
some
it's only
very
3
sketchy
games.
wins, and
Well, here's the thing. I don't think they're necessarily fraudulent because they're just riddled with injuries. If
Every
you're
year.
fraudulent, you got to be very healthy and then just still lose games anyway.
And they still have Shanahan. They still have
they're
Robert
playing with
Saleh.
house money for sure.
Yes.
I don't know. I saw a stat that Brock Purdy, I think he's got this over his last 10 to 12 games. I saw some stat that he has the same number of touchdowns as he does interceptions. And I like Brock Purdy, but I think, everyone said, has the Niners window closed? And I think we're way past that discussion with them.
Yeah.
They're
Whenever
not a
Jimmy
true
Garoppolo
contender.
left, that was when
Even
it
if they're
ended.
fully healthy.
Jameis
But we'll see. I could be wrong.
Winston-esque type stuff.
But Purdy, again, is dealing with a toe injury now. Pearsall is hurt again. The Niners just can't stay healthy.
He's great, though.
I hate
I
to
love
say it,
Pearsall.
but Christopher's Chiefs looked really good. The Ravens just laid up. The Chiefs looked like the Chiefs. The defense was really good. Obviously, Lamar got hurt, but even before that, I was really impressed. That linebacker with that impressive interception. But what really caught my eye is Patrick Mahomes looked like Patrick Mahomes again.
Yes.
Right?
I think-
275 yards, 4 touchdowns. Chiefs offense looked good.
Xavier
He
Worthy
is-
definitely helped that offense, and I think part of the issue was the Chiefs hadn't really found a receiver to kind of step up in Rasheed's place until last week near the end when Tyquan Thornton came down with those big touchdowns. So I think coming into this game, Mahomes would have been a little more comfortable anyway because he had that deep threat. But then you get Worthy back, and now you have 2 deep threats. So it's like you can, and I think it helped open up the run game. Pacheco had some good ground and pound because now people were like, oh, we got Tyquan and Worthy that we got to watch, and we can't let them behind us. So I think that kind of, the Ravens defense just kind of was in a weird spot that you haven't seen film on Worthy. You know he's fast, you know he can run routes, but you haven't really seen him yet because he was out week 1. So I think that kind of threw the Ravens defense for a little bit of a loop. As an NFL team, you have to be able to adjust on the fly.
You do.
And they didn't. And then the Chiefs defense also looked really good,
Yeah.
holding Lamar to 13 points. Lamar in that offense, who isn't really injury riddled on that offense. That offensive line's good. Lamar's solid. They have Mark Andrews, who, whether you think he's washed or not, he for a long time was a really good tight end, and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So I think it was just a great team effort by my Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
And going into the Jags next week.
Monday Night Football.
My one note on Chiefs Ravens: Mahomes, great. Lamar, I hope he gets better. My one note: I don't care about anything that happened in the game. John Harbaugh, what are you doing? What is going on?
Alex is calling out John Harbaugh right now.
Okay, he has the royal last name of Harbaugh in football, and he's doing this. It is time to reassess what this guy is doing.
I'm out on the Ravens, man.
I
1-3. That defense stinks.
Well,
I'm not
I
out
know
on
that
the Ravens.
Patrick said, well, the Bills beat the
I'm out on
Ravens.
John.
I'm starting to believe that's not an impressive win anymore because
No.
I think the Ravens, unfortunately, have peaked, and that defense is just bad. It's Cincinnati Bengals defense bad.
Here's the thing, though, that they have going for them. That whole division is in shambles right now. And if there
The Browns are the Browns.
the Browns are the Browns.
The Bengals have no Burrow.
or defense.
The Steelers are 3-1 and look good with Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, how long is that going to
But
last?
how long is that going to last?
Like,
No.
if there is a way, if they could just survive for, say, the next month or two,
Yeah.
I fully believe the Ravens can make a run back, not just for the playoffs. They can win this division still.
They can.
It's
Absolutely.
going to be
Interesting for
hard,
sure.
but I mean, I am not out on them in the slightest.
All right, before game picks,
yeah.
you have 60 seconds, Patrick,
Okay.
to tell us about the Cowboys game in 60 seconds as a fan.
In a lifetime of being a Dallas Cowboys fan, you learn that you watch the same game over and over and over again. And I refused to be sucked in and believe that they were going to win that ball game. Because there's so many times, especially against the Packers, where we come so close so many times, whether in the playoffs or the regular season, to Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love or whoever, or the referees. Des caught it. But every time in the last minute, I did not believe for 1 second we would win that game until they scored with under a minute to go in regulation. I got hyped. And then our defense is our defense. They're terrible. And I thought Jordan Love was about to have the ultimate brain fart moment at the end. And to end in a tie is atrocious. I would rather lose than end in a tie, especially in a 40-40 game. That game was incredible. It deserved a winner.
We agree on that. All right, Christopher,
All
game
right.
picks.
Oh, hold up. Sorry, I clicked.
I'm getting smoked. Not good.
I think I just get kicked out of here. But it's all
Well,
right.
I'll get you back up.
He's speaking from the
All
beginning.
right, you know what? I'll go ahead and give
you
mine
go.
really quickly. I'm going Jets and Broncos. I need to turn some fortune. Come on. Give me Justin Fields. Give me Bo Nix on a Monday night.
Yep. I will also say Jets and Broncos. Jets, I think, are going to clear the Dolphins. I think Bengals Broncos will be kind of close. I think Bo Nix has some proving to do. Jets Broncos.
I'm going Fins Broncos.
All right.
I just want to be a little different. I got a game to throw here.
Yes,
you're
you said
winning.
that last week. You keep winning.
And I want. There was more to why I chose
Yeah.
the Lions, but that's I.
And who does Pat have?
Fins Broncos. That first game's atrocious. Take the home team.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, great episode here. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We will be back next Monday with some more football, and have a great week.